today. Russell Engel and Larry Perkins, that Castrol domination continuing. Peter Brock and Glenn Seaton out of the second row.
We then go back to row 3. It looks like this. John Bauer, Wayne Gardner sharing that. Dick Johnson and Mark Larkham, row 4.
Row 5 is Terry Finnegan and Mark Paul, the Privateers. Row 6 is Stephen Richards and Darren Hossack in the Wins Racing Commodore.
We are literally moments away from the third race. Who will win this one? Will it be Engel? Will it be Perkins? We'll have to wait and see. Engel got away to a blinder. He's got the inside run into the first corner, and it is Russell Engel who will take the minutes. Pretty tight for that first one. Who was that? Brock diving up the inside, but Glenn Seaton managed to work his way around the outside, and look at Gardner. Gardner and Bow fighting it out there as we're on board with Dick Johnson.
Wayne Gardner in a Shell Racing Sandwich. You're riding atop the windscreen of Dick Johnson's Shell 17 Ford. You can see Wayne Gardner running the white line. That first part of the circuit managed to squeeze back into the sandwich, so Gardner survives on this hectic opening lap.
Good work there by Wayne Gardner, who was coming up the outside of John Bow, just able to tug it back in. So it's Castrol, 1-2 again. Here's Bow putting the pressure on Peter Brock. He'll have to watch out because there's Gardner again, and a bit of contact between Gardner and Bow. The front right-hand side, and now Johnson's right up on Gardner also.
Well, Dick Johnson got a beautiful view of that little clip. Little bit of damage, doesn't look too serious. Shell Helix onboard camera with Dick Johnson right in the heart of this battle as he tucks right up under the wing of the Wayne Gardner Racing Commodore. We get a nice clear lens to continue the battle as well.
So Russell Engel looking good at the moment, but we've got a long way to go. He got away to a beautiful start. Seaton's well positioned in terms of the points, but this is the best we've seen John Bow going so far. He's got away to a terrific start, and he is hassling the back of Peter Brock.
Yes, it certainly was a great start from Russell. He's not going to, I'm sure he's not going to get headed in this race. He's out in front of his team boss, and I'm sure that Larry would have said that whoever gets to the first corner first has basically got the race.
Let's ride with 5 times Australian Touring Car Champ Dick Johnson. Just working around, lurking around behind Wayne Gardner. This is the battle at the moment for 6th and 7th. It's probably one of the better rounds for the Shell Helix team.
Perkins and Engel locked in points as they came into this third heat on 56, Brock on 48, Seaton 44. So Seaton well within striking distance, but the interesting thing is Seaton now 338 points, Engel 312 after that second heat. So Engel really is closing the gap to our championship leader.
Just a bit of information, just updating you with some information. Mark Scaife is a non-starter in this one. He had some engine problems in the last race, apparently dropping a cylinder. They haven't been able to work out why at the moment, so frustrating time for the Gibson Motorsport team as we see Glenn Seaton now. Have a look at this, the Ford Credit Falcon all over the back of Larry Perkins, fighting it out for that second spot.
Well, we saw Larry Perkins, who've seen him in a number of dices this year, particularly at Phillip Island, where he was very effective at holding the whole field out just by driving a conservative line. He didn't have the fastest car on the circuit, but he certainly used his position to advantage. Look at the speed on our laser gun of Glenn Seaton down that straight, 203 kilometres an hour, as he tries to squeeze maximum speed out of the Ford Credit Falcon, chasing the Castrol duo.
Well, he won here in 93 and 94. He likes the circuit, he knows he does well here. Hasn't been the best of days. When I say that, he's pretty hard on himself. He likes to win, and he hasn't been winning today. These 2 Castrol Commodores stand in his way at the moment, but he's certainly the highest place at this early stage in the race that he's been out of any of the 3.
This is a fantastic fight back too for Dunlop. Seen the Bridgestone tyres dominant in the opening 4 rounds, taken all 4 pole positions, and very effective in the races too, but this is a great fight back from Dunlop.
The pattern looks like changing also. There's never been a Holden victory, a round victory that is, here at Winton. That is certainly going to change today. Russell Engel pulling out more on his team boss's seat. Turns up the heat a little bit on Larry Perkins.
It's amazing the focus so far really been on the clash between Engel and Murphy. Now Murph hasn't had the best of days here, and that really has now put the spotlight on the battle between Engel and Seaton at this stage of the championship. It's an incredibly competitive championship. In 1997, we go on board Holden Racing Team Commodore. Greg Murphy, great shot there of Murph, hard at work. Saw him go off into the infield in that second heat. Bit of damage to the car, had to retire. Now he's fighting his way back through the field. He's up to 10th position, so he's really on a charge.
Yes, it's a great effort, Mark, from started about 19th on the grid, and he's going to certainly end up in the middle of the top 10 pack.
So Murphy is on the charge. He is going extremely well. Let's Let's hope he can keep this progress going. Peter Brock has suddenly dropped out of the equation, so some problems from Brock as they came across the line. He's in fact gone off the circuit. We watch his teammate Greg Murphy hard at work. There was some problem there for Peter Brock because on our computer screen it came across the start-finish line. He dropped from fourth right back, and there he is, going off the circuit. That's through the Motorsport S's.
Well, we couldn't really see if he was pushed or whether he went off on his own. He's had a rough ride there, teammate Greg Murphy surviving, car 15. That moves him up to 8th position. Considering Murphy started off the back of the grid, this is an outstanding effort. He really is charging through this pack.
John Faulkner, you can see on screen there, the better electrical entry. He is in 9th position at the moment, just behind Murphy. He has recovered well from that incident earlier on. It would have given him a bit of a fright exiting the circuit sideways and backwards. We watch him hard at work. Inside, the better electrical Fisher and Paykel entry. This year, he is leaps and bounds ahead. He is most certainly the best privateer in the bunch.
Lee, I think our cameraman in the crane tower over there would have got a bigger fright, because that's basically where Murphy was and Faulkner were heading when they came off in the grass.
A fabulous shot of John Faulkner there, the sun in his eyes, sun angle getting pretty low late in the day, and he's got it right in his face. You can see it there, making it even tougher. Racing conditions, bit of damage to the back of the car, that contact with Dick Johnson, but he's fighting back.
Well, it looked like we were facing our second wet round in a row after that very, very wet round at Symmons Plains in Tasmania. It rained here at Winton Friday and Saturday, even more so yesterday. But today, when we all woke up, the sky was relatively clear, and they have really come out in their numbers. There's your Shell Helix race score for you. Engel, Perkins, Seaton, Bowen, Gardner, your top 5. 6 back through 10. Johnson, Larkham, this is his best run. And then we go back even further through the field.
Greg Murphy came into the championship. Look at that fabulous shot there as he gets a wheel right up in the air. Plenty of roll stiffness in these cars. You can see that there, the wheel getting up, just stopping spinning while it's momentarily airborne. But Greg Murphy, great start to the championship at Calder with that first heat victory, and then things really haven't gone his way right up to Symmons Plains last weekend, where he was totally dominant. So he's having one of these up and down sort of seasons. You can see the laser speed of car 15 up to a maximum speed of 202 kilometres an hour before he brakes hard for the Motorsport News S's. So it's a tight, very twisty track now, Winton, with 3 kilometres in distance, and you can see the speed still pretty high.
Charlie, I'm sure that you've been in this situation sometime throughout your career where you've been going well, like Greg has been, and in the second race today he had some misfortune. Now he's really got to make it up here and get some valuable points to stay in the championship hunt. You go out aggressive in this third race, or you just say, keep a cool head, I've got to get the points, I need to finish first and foremost.
You really are fighting yourself because you want to be aggressive. You've missed out on a lot of points in the first 2 races. But that is the beauty of going back a number of years ago when there was a single race where you only got 1 chance of it. But at least in this series now, you do have 3 chances of getting some points. Let's
have a listen to the roar of this Chevy V8. That's why they call them the gods of thunder. Unbelievable noise. 600 horsepower from this 5-litre Chevy V8 in the Mobile Holden Racing Team Commodore as he closes in on the back of Mark Larkham. This is the battle for 7th and 8th position. Pulls out of the draft. Side by side up to 200 kilometres an hour. Larkham has no answer to that speed coming out of that corner, so Murphy does it easily. Takes up another position, moves up to 7th.
So Larkham relegated to 8th spot in the Mitre 10 Falcon. He's certainly having a good run. So perhaps the bad luck has gone for Mark Larkham. This could be the turnaround point in Larkham's V8 supercar career. Let's hope so. He's got John Faulkner looming around, probably about 3 or 4 car lengths behind. Terry Finnegan is sitting inside the top 10 as well, but Greg Murphy, here is the man on the hunt, on the charge, from 19th up to 7th now. We go back up front though. Here is Russell Engel, who leads the way, and quite comfortably at the moment. There's no doubt about that. Things looking good for the Enforcer.
Well, they did talk about in football, or most ball sports, a home ground advantage. Certainly seeing it here. This is the nominated test track for Perkins Engineering. Do all their testing out here in both dry and wet conditions. They knew they dialed in a fantastic setup for the two Commodores, and very confident coming into this round. Now we can see why. They're really putting their reputations on the line and showing great form in round 5.
Well, in terms of the Shell Helix race team, Charlie O'Brien, that's pleasing to see Dick Johnson up there, because they're now running 4th and 5th, Bow and Johnson respectively, and that's certainly the most promising results that we've seen from that team as a whole this season.
Yes, Lee, Dick is certainly driving well. He seems to have some better days than others, and this is one of his good days. He's certainly driving well within himself.
Russell Engel flicks the Castrol Commodore through the S's, braking hard for Penrite corner. And they really have been the dominant force of Winton this afternoon. Stephen Richards in the Valvoline Cummins Commodore, the Gary Rogers entered car. Really did a tremendous job in that wet qualifying session yesterday to end up 4th on the grid. Got squeezed on the first corner of the first race and has had to fight his way back throughout the day. Sitting back there in 12th position at the moment. So what looked like a lot of promise didn't come to very much.
Yeah, frustrating times for the Gary Rogers Motorsport team, but Stephen's a gutsy young driver. He doesn't give in easily at all, and good to see him circulating in this one. He is behind Peter Brock in 12th position. Top 10 at the moment looks like this: Engel, Perkins, Seaton, Bow, Johnson, Gardner. Murphy is up into 7th, Faulkner, Larkham, and Finnegan maintains his 10th position, and there he is, just ahead of Peter Brock. Talking about that little piece of history with Holden, there's only been 10 rounds out of 36 years of the Australian Touring Car Championship. There's only been 10 rounds here at Winton. Ford have had 5 victories, a mixture of the Ford Sierra and also the Ford Falcon. Nissan have had 3 victories and BMW 2. And today, Mark Osler is going to be a Holden day as Peter Brock comes up on the inside and passes Terry Finnegan.
Yeah, it's extraordinary how you get a set of circumstances like that, considering how many times they've changed the regulations and the different cars have been running. So we go on board with John Faulkner. Just managed to fight his way past Mark Larkham a couple of laps ago. He's moved up to 8th position. So he is our top place privateer at the moment. Terry Finnegan, the second best, sitting back in 10th position. We're on board with John Faulkner, working very hard at the wheel of the Better Electrical Fisher and Paykel Commodore. And he really has been the top privateer 3 times, the top privateer in the 4 rounds previous to this one. And a tremendous amount of speed out of this car. Former Holden Racing Team Commodore, running Bridgestone tyres, and they do share a lot of technical information with the works team in terms of suspension setup, diff ratios, that sort of stuff. So he finds it a tremendous help.
Well, Mark, certainly one of the big pluses there for John Faulkner is when he purchased the car from the Holden race team, he was able to get the Bridgestone tyre deal, because that is the way the car has been designed right from the beginning, is to run on Bridgestone tyres. When you go and buy a used car and put it on different tyres, a new team have a lot of work to work out a car setup on different types of tyres.
As we watch Dick Johnson work away at maintaining that 5th position, Gardner has just drifted off a little bit. He's not too far behind though. So Johnson going very well. Let's have a look at the Windscreens O'Brien profile for the 5 times Australian Touring Car Champion. He was the winner of Bathurst 3 times, 81, 89 and 94. Won Sandown twice. First at the Eastern Creek 12 hour in 94. So far this year, there you go, you can see it's been a mixed bag. 2 6th, a 14th and an 11th. So he should be doing better than that today by his results, especially if he can maintain this 5th position.
Winton Motor Raceway too has always been a bit of a bogey track for Dick Johnson, and right back to the days, the Sierra days, and the total dominance of the Shell team back in 88 and 89. Every time they came to this circuit they were nowhere, so they really have had a few problems over the years at Winton Raceway. We go on board with Dick Johnson, checking his laser speed down the bottom left of your screen, 210 kilometres an hour.
Well, that's the fastest.
Whoa! He's lost it. Dick Johnson has spun. We were on board and just looking at his speed coming into the Motorsport S's, and he's lost it.
Maybe he came in too hot. 210 kilometres an hour is a good speed, but he made a bit of a mistake there, Charlie O'Brien.
Yes, it was. I was about to say it's about 6 kilometres an hour faster than we've seen before, and maybe that was because he went a little late under brakes.
So Dick picks up plenty of dirt for his trouble. Let's look at this in the Shell Helix replay. Beautiful view from our high shot there above the circuit, and just lost it himself. Went in a little bit too hot, locked the rear brakes and spun it around. Managed to get out reasonably unscathed.
So hard luck there for Dick Johnson. We have a look at it from a different view from behind. Gardner does a good job to avoid hitting Johnson there, and he was lucky to get out of that wet patch there also. Plenty of dirt and mud flying on the Shell Helix Falcon, so that drops Dick Johnson, unfortunately, a few positions back.
So it's still Engel and Perkins in control, Seaton in third, Bow in fourth, Gardner sneaking through there. It's the top five, running fairly static, particularly amongst the Castrol cars. They just have this race by the throat. They had it from yesterday afternoon, and they haven't loosened their grip.
In terms of the overall championship points, because Russell Engel's been going so well today, coming into this third and final race, he was only 26 points adrift of Glenn Seaton. It was 38 at the beginning of the day. It'll be interesting to see what it is after this one.
Well, he said he wanted to win the Shell Australian Touring Car Championship in 1997. He said last year was a learning year, wanted to play himself in. He didn't have a lot of money to spend, and he didn't want to bend a car that could have ended his whole championship hopes. But this year, much more aggressive attack, really taking the fight up to the top level one drivers, and his championship points tell the story. Russell Engel is in with one heck of a chance.
Team boss Larry Perkins as well, I think, loosened the reins, so to speak. You talked to Russell, he said, yep, Larry absolutely said, go for it this year, mate. Give it your best shot. And that's certainly what he has done and is doing.
And the Castrol team also adopting a very strong philosophy in terms of points. Perkins doesn't want to hand over to Engel too early in case there's a drama, and Perkins still can fight for the championship. We go back with John Faulkner. The board looking out, front left-hand windscreen, as he tries to bring it home. Currently top place privateer for the day. So John continuing that stunning form. That'll be 4 out of 5 times he's the top place privateer.
Sitting in 8th position at the moment, chasing out after Dick Johnson. Qualifying 5th, that was just outstanding. And more to the point, he did it on used tyres. He did it on the wet weather tyres that he used at Symmons Plain. So that was an outstanding effort. 196 kilometres an hour coming into the Motorsport News S's. As he tries hard, he runs wide. Faulkner gets a little bit out of shape, but managed to pull it back on. And there's Peter Brock looming up in the background as well. So Brock's done well. He's come back. He was way back in 12th position. He's worked his way up into 9th now. Mark Larkham back in 10th. And here he is, Russell Engel, on the last lap on his way home out of Strathfield Car Radio's corner. He's got a handy little buffer over his team boss and about the same margin back to Glenn Seaton. It's been a good, steady day's driving, Charlie O'Brien, for Russell Engel.
Oh, Russell's going great. Like, the thing that amazes me is that the Larry's team is probably not that flush with enormous amounts of dollars like some of the other teams, and they are, the amount of 1-2 finishes that they have had this year, they've done an amazing job.
Perkins Engineering, based at Moorabbin Airport in Melbourne. They have something like 15 or 16 full-time employees, not only doing their own cars but working on the others. But we focus on the guy that's bringing it home to the checkered flag, Russell Engel. Well done. He takes out race 3. You can see him there. The fist is clenched. He is delighted with himself, and so he should be. His team boss will come in for second. Glenn Seaton in the Ford Credit Falcon in for third. And John Bow will come across the line ahead of Gardner in for 4th and 5th respectively. So a really good run to this guy here, Russell Engel. Well done. He will be enjoying that victory. He won race 2 and 3. And there's Larry pulling up alongside him. Here are the final placings for you on the Shell Helix race score. Engel and Perkins, the double again. Glenn Seaton, some very handy points in this one for him, picking up that third. Won't be happy that he didn't win today, but they're very valuable championship points. John Bow in for 4th, and a good steady run today by the Coca-Cola racing outfit of Wayne Gardner. Stay with us here on Network 10. We'll be back to wrap things up.